What caused the ancient world's mass amnesia? Scientists found the shocking answer. Imagine if an entire planet of advanced civilizations suddenly forgot everything they knew. Their writing systems vanished, their technologies disappeared, and humanity was forced to start over from almost nothing, like a species-wide case of amnesia. Welcome back to Beneath the Depths. Today we're exploring one of archaeology's greatest mysteries, the catastrophic event that caused the ancient world to lose centuries of accumulated knowledge and triggered what historians call the Bronze Age collapse, leaving humanity in a dark age that lasted for centuries. Around 1200 BCE, something catastrophic happened that destroyed virtually every advanced civilization in the Mediterranean and Near East simultaneously. The Mycenaean Greeks, the Hittite Empire, the Egyptian New Kingdom, the Assyrian Empire, and dozens of other sophisticated cultures either collapsed entirely or were reduced to shadows of their former glory within just a few decades. But here's what's truly shocking. It wasn't just political collapse. These civilizations lost their writing systems, their advanced technologies, their trade networks, and even basic knowledge about agriculture and metalworking that had taken centuries to develop. It was as if the entire human species suffered collective amnesia and forgot how to be civilized. The scale of this knowledge loss is absolutely staggering. Linear B script, used by the Mycenaean Greeks, completely disappeared and wasn't rediscovered until modern archaeologists deciphered it in the 20th century. Advanced bronze working techniques were lost for centuries, forcing people to revert to simpler stone and iron tools. Even basic literacy vanished from many regions. Scientists studying this period have identified multiple catastrophic events that struck simultaneously around 1200 BCE. Massive earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, climate change, and mysterious invasions by groups called the Sea Peoples all converged to create a perfect storm of civilizational collapse. Recent archaeological evidence suggests that a series of massive volcanic eruptions, possibly including the explosion of Thera, modern Santorini, created global climate chaos that lasted for decades. Volcanic ash in the atmosphere blocked sunlight, caused crop failures, and triggered famines that destroyed the economic foundations of Bronze Age civilizations. But that's not the most amazing part. Genetic studies of ancient populations show evidence of massive population movements and demographic collapse during this period. Entire peoples seem to have vanished or been displaced, carrying their knowledge and skills with them into oblivion. The mysterious Sea Peoples represent one of the most puzzling aspects of this ancient amnesia. These groups appear in Egyptian records as destructive forces that swept across the eastern Mediterranean, destroying cities and civilizations in their path. But no one knows who they were, where they came from, or what happened to them afterward. Here's where it gets really interesting. The collapse wasn't uniform across all regions. Some areas, like Assyria and parts of Egypt, managed to survive in reduced form, while others, like the Mycenaean palace civilization of Greece, vanished so completely that later Greeks had no memory of their Bronze Age ancestors' achievements. The truth is even more incredible when you consider what was lost. Advanced astronomical knowledge, sophisticated engineering techniques, complex writing systems, extensive trade networks spanning continents, and medical knowledge that wouldn't be rediscovered for centuries, all erased as if it had never existed. Recent discoveries of Bronze Age shipwrecks and trading centers reveal that the pre-collapse world was far more connected and sophisticated than previously imagined. International trade routes linked Britain to Afghanistan, and complex diplomatic relationships existed between kingdoms separated by thousands of miles. The Ulubaran shipwreck, discovered off the Turkish coast, contained goods from over a dozen different civilizations, proving that a globalized Bronze Age world existed before the collapse. When this system fell apart, the knowledge of how to maintain these long-distance relationships and technologies was lost with it. Climate data from ice cores and tree rings shows that the period around 1200 BCE was marked by severe drought, cooling temperatures, and extreme weather events that would have made agriculture nearly impossible across wide areas. Civilizations that had thrived for centuries suddenly couldn't feed their populations. But here's what makes this ancient amnesia even more mysterious. Some knowledge seems to have been deliberately destroyed rather than simply lost. Palace archives were burned, monuments were defaced, and in some cases, it appears that literacy itself was abandoned intentionally by surviving populations. The psychological trauma of the Bronze Age collapse may have been so severe that surviving peoples actively rejected the technologies and systems that had failed to protect them. It's as if humanity collectively decided to forget the complex civilization that had brought them to disaster. Archaeological evidence shows that many survivors reverted to nomadic lifestyles, abandoning cities and complex agriculture in favor of simpler, more mobile ways of life. The trauma of collapse may have made people distrust the very concept of complex civilization. The recovery from this ancient amnesia took centuries. Writing didn't reappear in Greece until around 800 BCE, 400 years after it was lost. Many technologies had to be reinvented from scratch, and some Bronze Age achievements weren't matched again until the Classical period or later. Modern computer modeling of Bronze Age trade networks shows how interconnected these ancient civilizations were, and how the collapse of key nodes could have triggered cascading failures across the entire system. It was like a Bronze Age version of global economic collapse. The implications for our own civilization are sobering. If advanced Bronze Age societies could lose centuries of accumulated knowledge in just a few decades, what vulnerabilities might exist in our own interconnected global systems? Could we face our own version of mass amnesia if the right disasters struck simultaneously? Recent studies of civilizational collapse suggest that highly complex societies are often more fragile than simpler ones. The very sophistication that makes them powerful also makes them vulnerable to cascading failures when key systems break down. What caused the ancient world's mass amnesia? A perfect storm of natural disasters, climate change, social upheaval, and system collapse that was so traumatic it literally erased centuries of human achievement and forced our species to start rebuilding civilization from almost nothing. The fact that humanity lost so much knowledge so quickly reminds us how fragile civilization really is, and how the progress we take for granted could potentially be lost if we don't understand and protect the complex systems that sustain our modern world. What do you think would happen to our current civilization if we faced a similar cascade of disasters? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking discoveries about the hidden fragility of human achievement.